Hello, my beautiful co-creators. Lilou here from beautiful, magnificent Arizona, where it's really getting hot. Time to go to Seattle, Oregon, and Hawaii. These are one of the last. These are one of the very last videos in Arizona, and this is a very beautiful treat we have here with Sabine. That is originally from Germany.
Thank you.
That I got to know very recently, and that became a very good friend quickly. We're having so much fun, vibrating on a similar level, and it's amazing how we're all meeting these days, all of similar energies, getting together for the highest good.
Yeah, and really clicking right away, you know?
Right away. And it's interesting how this come about, and I don't know for you guys, if you're linked to my Facebook page, you might have seen those beautiful pictures that came out. And I received a request one day from Sabine saying, I've heard you're in Phoenix. I got something for you.
Yeah, so I really felt called to connect with you, Lilou, because I've been following you since 2009. And you know,
right when I lost my job.
Yep. and you really sort of like are a pioneer in 3 areas, and you're combining 3 areas that are also very important for me. So it's definitely spirituality first and foremost. Then it's also being, you know, an artist. You know, you have a branding background and a very sophisticated internet marketing background, which I have as well. And then you also love technology. You love, you know, the web, and you know that the web is angelic technology, and that it's really here to collect us all globally. And I figured, you know, if you are in my backyard, here you are literally in my backyard, I thought I was going to just like do my best to sort of like connect with you. And my offer was twofold. I invited you to do a soul purpose journey with me, a so-called power reinvention session.
Oh, I don't want to share this moment.
And then also that soul photography journey that we did together. And so the photos that Lilou was referring to on her Facebook page really were sort of like not normal photography, that we were actually really looking to capture your essence, because that is something that is not so easy to do, right?
Yeah. Yes, and I can be very camera shy. So, but I think it is important, especially after 4 or 5 months being on the road like that. There's been so much transformation and happening that by seeing those pictures and seeing where I was at, reflecting back, you know, the vibration and the healing that took place, and the confidence and the spirit inside of me that is more and more present was a gift.
I really think that art and pictures in that way help us in the manifestation process. You always talk about how important it is to do vision boards, you know, and all these inner shifts, you know, all this popping that's been going on in you and in your community, you know, now you have evidence of a really phenomenal, radiant pioneer and cowboy girl.
Both sides, and thank you for that. But I, you know, what I love about what you're doing and when you're offering here, and is this, you have yourself reinvented yourself many times.
That's true.
And we have the chance these days to reinvent ourselves. We're not stuck in where we're at, and there's tools, there's ways to go about it. It's not like we're not stuck. We're not stuck. There's not such a thing. And when we're losing our job, when we are, you know, going through even bankruptcy or changing totally our lives, divorce or what have you, this is a great time to restart.
Yes, it really is.
Or even retiring.
Yeah.
This is a time to claim, you know, this part of ourselves. How do you call that? Like, how do you? What is the best thing to actually bring that out of people? How can we fully step in this something that we feel but we don't know quite yet what it is?
I think it really is the embracing the mystery, that we really are sort of going to be required to have a lot of faith. I think it all starts out with people really feeling either, you know, disconnected with the life that they're living, and there's actually a lot of people that are still financially in a good place or secure, but still don't have the same satisfaction and fulfillment anymore in their careers. A value system has completely changed. And we're looking at status, and we're looking at possessions from a whole different perspective. And so this, you know, I think that the word is sacred discontent. this sacred discontent that even people have that are not necessarily like in the crisis mode, but even they have it, right? Is this sort of like beginning point of this journey on the mystery road to, okay, what is our highest becoming, and where we steered to go. And I think the more we are non-attached to our roles and not identified with our books, and this includes a lot of authors, this includes a lot of life coaches that have become so successful very quickly with their messages and have totally identified themselves with their books, their messages, and so on and so forth. They are the type of people that are now sort of like pigeonholed and limited by their own reputation, their own brand. And we also live in an era where personal branding has become sort of like the status quo. We're all on the web, we're all broadcasting. The whole sort of sender-receiver notion, the classic, marketing concept is completely equal now. We're all broadcasting. We have an enormous influence. Every voice counts. And so when you really reflect on that, so on one hand side, the sacred discontent, and on the other hand, the opportunity that you took when you lost your job to really become a sender or a producer rather than a seeker or recipient, that responsibility, that is on the other side, and there's a mystery road that connects us, and it requires faith.
So how can we authentically bring that out without pretending to be something that we're not? Because here we're talking really about authentic. Authentically bringing out.
Yeah.
How is it? Because it's a fine line.
It's a fine line. And you know what? There's so much talk about authenticity right now. That's why you're also, picking this question, because everybody wants to do authentic marketing, authentic representation, and yada, yada, yada. And a lot of it is really just another layer of projection, another layer of, sort of pretending that we're still safe, just an inch further out. But I'm really, what I've tried to do for myself over and over is to really make a big, bold leap. And not really stay in sort of like a status quo, even though it feels, a little bit more authentic, you know what I'm saying? So it's really, I guess we really have to sort of be more brutally honest with ourselves, that even when we sort of like open up, there's still more layers. We really want to be in this pure, open-hearted, not knowing desire to sort of like have a new identity.
So what are some of the questions that we can ask ourselves to break through that? How do you bring that out? How do you help your own clients to come out, to really literally come out?
Well, see, I completely bypass the mind by really going and communing with the soul. Because what I've found is that when we ask these questions, people get so in their head. And this is exactly where you just get sort of like a more sort of authentic layer of conformity, you know what I'm saying? So I'm actually really not asking my clients any questions. I take them on the soul journey. And then I really sort of give them the opportunity to hang with their soul for 3 hours and to really get an experience of their highest potential and their highest purpose, their life purpose, through their soul, right? And you've experienced that.
I've experienced it for 3 hours, and it felt a lot shorter. And inside that space, I had images, really divine images. And I felt so much connection to my highest self, so much love, so much that my wings were coming out, and I felt so much my heart and the heart chamber opening up, and it's easier than I thought it would have been. It's quite scary at first. You're like, oh, what is this gonna look like? But actually, feeling it, and through the power of imagination, it's really important. The components that come in and the clarity that we're just gaining and the expansion, it's not with the head, and I think that's brilliant. I'm just really, really amazed.
Yeah, so this experience that you had, what it really is to feel your soul potential, what it really is to actually communicate as your soul with your loved ones, and then also the soul purpose, right? To sort of like, we have the ceremony where we really sort of experienced how many people you impact with your soul purpose and how many people are connected with you. And it's from that experience that I help people then brand that. But you know, to answer your question in terms of what can, you know, anyone do, I think that just the more we really, really find ways to connect with our souls, the more we really, through consciousness and development, self-development, self-growth, really find that connection with our own inner essence, the more we really can sort of like strip down those layers.
Yeah, but I'm really excited too about this conversation, because there's a lot of spiritual people that think that it is superficial to brand ourselves, or to look on the outside, or to shine out, and there's a whole bunch that is really letting themselves down, I feel, by doing that. It is really, it is the marriage right now, I feel, of the spiritual and the outside being supported financially, of our inside and outside. There's no point leaving one part and thinking that because we're spiritual, then we should just, you know, just be who we are and let our, it's nice and natural, but at the same time, I feel there's this juice that is not totally coming out fully to experience our human self. I mean, we're still humans, and I think that's a beautiful thing to incorporate in our lives. And let's not deny it. It is there, and it's not about codes or fitting in or this and that, or saying yes to society and driving this car. It's just about being even more so of ourselves, and there's so much more juice than
it's
just...
so true. I love what you just were talking about. I really think that the spiritual revolution is leading to the new economy. The new economy that some coin is the feminine economy. Not to say that it's only the women that are sort of like, you know, going to be leadership positions, or primarily. It's really more the feminine, divine feminine qualities of this new economy. And it's
the nurturing, the loving, the caring,
the giving back, the team creation, the co-creation. It's those, and also chaotic and unpredictable elements belong also to the new economy and its principles. But it's really the spiritual entrepreneurs that, when they get out of the just living in the, you know, upper clouds space, and really say, you know what, we're the bridge builders. We are the ones that can imagine the life on the other side. So it's our duty and our sacred privilege to show people how to get there, you know, because we've seen the light, and so now we are the ones that can take them on that ferry. We're the ones that can build the bridges through the imagination, through creativity, and branding and marketing are really, communication in general is really one of the major vehicles how we bridge the gap. And it's fun. It's fun to explore new facets of ourselves. I you know, some new things come out, as you said, you know, in another conversation. Madonna is always reinventing herself and constantly some new things. Some fearlessly exploring.
And her creativity has expanded. Her leadership has expanded as a consequence of that. It brings the juice out. It brings really, because otherwise, when we follow the status quo, and I clearly see it as I'm on the Juicy Living tour, you know, and moving and changing all the time, that then there's no room for status quo, and then there's no room for hiding. And I think we hide too much behind the same identity and the same lifestyle and the same home and the same cushion and the same way to do the bed.
And we can also hide behind the spiritual, you know, awakening too. You know, between, you know, behind certain sort of philosophies, or you know, I think it's really about this. Osho really is a good example. Actually, it comes to mind. You know, that fiery, creative, you know, spiritual pioneer, right?
Yeah, fearless too.
Fearless, yeah, very radical.
I love it. So, what are you? You have this fantastic journey. You came originally from Germany, and now you're living here in the Arizona. And God knows what's going to happen next. It's just you're letting it unfold. How are you living your life every day?
Well, when I came originally from Germany, I was actually following my spiritual calling. I had this incredible light shaft experience in 1991 in Manhattan, and it was really a shock to me up until then, because I wasn't really considering myself spiritual really, and I was also not really that interested in the United States. I was very happy living in Berlin and studying art, and I sat on this park bench in Washington Square Park, and I still very vividly remember exactly what took place. I had an epiphany of the human potential, because I saw this city skyline right in front of me, and Ellis Island and the Statue of Liberty, and all of these hopes of these souls that came to this new country, that all of a sudden were sort of like downloading into my space, and I could really feel thousands and thousands and thousands of souls really landing at this particular place with the desire, with the dream to completely unfold their highest potential and to live their dreams. And in that moment, when I had this like human potential epiphany, this light shaft came down, and it was literally a very bright, big light shaft, and I heard a voice inside my head that said, Sabine, if you want to live your highest potential, you must move to the United States. And I was like, what? And then the other message that came through was, and you'll meet your highest soulmate. So I was actually supposed to get married in Germany. So I was in a 7 year long relationship, and happy relationship. It wasn't really, like I said, I had no plan on sort of like abruptly ending my life. But this light shaft experience, and also really this ultimatum that Spirit gave me, if you want to live your highest potential, you have to do X, Y, and Z, or you go back and then nothing will ever be good, in that sense, good enough, or will come close to this, setup. So this was my soul agreeing to this light shaft thing, and I basically 2 years later, it took me 2 years to finalize my bachelor's and my master's degree in visual communication. And I knew if I wanted to make it in America that I had to be the best at what I was very good at. So I was best of class, and really sort of working very hard, and I came with a suitcase and the dream. I didn't land in Manhattan, I landed in San Francisco.
Great city too.
Great city. Great
so much
city.
creative juice there.
And there I landed within just a couple weeks an amazing dream job with Wired magazine at the height of the birth of the web era. So the founders of Wired really were totally intrigued. I was a total match with the technology passion, because I had been really involved with the web in Berlin before it actually really existed, and I was hired to be the first web designer to help Wired magazine with its first online website, hotwire.com. So it was really just totally amazing what came out of this pursuit of the impossible, really,
And you just let it unfold. I know you also love Manchester. That's a very different.
Yes, I had.
It seems like a very totally different radical path, but you had actually a lot of experiences there too.
I totally, at the peak of my design career, when Microsoft, gave me job offers to work for Sidewalk, and it was the 90s, and there was a lot of like an amazing boom going on in the web. I actually really realized that I did not come all this way to have a glorious career. I came all this way to be truthful about what it was that was my highest purpose. And so I actually quit my job. And I wasn't let go. I quit my job, and I pursued my spiritual passions. And I studied a lot with Native Americans. There was a particular Northern California elder that I studied a lot, and just really explored the teachings that I was really mostly attracted to were the teachings that had to do with spiritual co-creation. So rituals, prayers, ceremonies, soul retrievals, all those amazing, tools, destiny, reading the destiny out of, stones, out of a stone reading, and really sort of like practicing intuitive skills. It was also the artist really that was really looking at spirituality as a form of expression.
It's amazing how then you attracted all those things. I just love it. Once we dare really living fully who we are, then life presents awesome clues and people.
Yeah, could apprentice with the Tibetan Lama. Like I said, also started with Alberto Villoldo, which was an enormous influence. Alberto Villoldo and the Four Winds Society, they had a phenomenal energy master program that I went through.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, this is exciting. I'm very excited to see all kind of people coming from all kind of different paths and really living their highest potential and letting it unfold too. With the challenges too, you've experienced many challenges and yet you stayed on there. A lot of people, I think, sometimes also have but she was born with money, or he was born with these type of parents, or this and that. But really, when you see an immigrant, but when you see an immigrant his original language is different, and then you come to America, appreciate America for the land of opportunities and the things that we can create here, and the openness of people, and how this country constantly also reinvent itself, and then you see how this is our gratitude pours into what we do, and it's amazing. I'm very inspired, to show all these kind of examples.
And it's true. I mean, it wasn't always easy, Like, for example, when you have really reached a plateau in something, and then to sort of like, let's say, a career or an education, or you've run your own business for a while, and all of a sudden you really realize this is really not. It was necessary to learn that and to master that, and at the same time it's also really necessary to purge it. Purging a marriage, purging a career, purging all those things were very, very intense chapters. And while you're purging, you don't necessarily know why you are doing it and what will be on the other side. But now I'm really in a place where I've got perspective now, and I can so see and really have to pat myself on the shoulder that I had the courage and the strength and this is authenticity, talking about authenticity, this is authenticity, to really say, you know what, I gotta stop this, I don't know what's gonna come next, I don't know who is going to replace this, hole or whatever, but I have to just do this is the right thing to do. That is authentic living. It's not the layers of code. But what I was trying to say is that, the shedding of that is really something that now has allowed me to see how I can bring this all together, and how many people are bringing this together. That this is really, that these are divine puzzle pieces, and if we have Spirit's perspective, we can actually really see why we were in the training grounds in various areas and industry sectors and whatnot.
Yeah, it's all handy.
Exactly.
Especially when we're up to really living our life purpose. That's when we see all the pieces.
When we really, obviously it's not so handy if you want to find the next job, let's say. But if you're making your own career, if you're making your own purpose, like what you're doing, and what you're inspiring people to do, is to really look at like your skill sets and look at like your experiences, and take also the pain experiences as your most heightened launching points of mastery, because it's always around those major breakthroughs, that you can really teach others, to do the same.
I'm more, I would say, a believer of really opening our heart and letting it unfold now, rather than looking at specific skills. And I see it now that I'm inside my life purpose, then everything is making sense.
Yes.
But again, I think it's important to not, as you were saying earlier, not come from a mind not come from the
Totally,
mind, but
yeah.
from the soul. And
Yeah.
then it made all sense once you
But see,
contact
once
with the
you're
soul.
on the path, then the surrendering
Yeah.
is really, happening. But if you're surrendering and you're not really clear on what path it is, it could be really very confusing. So it's really good to launch with an intention and
Yeah.
then to surrender.
Wow, I love it, Sabine. It's been so much fun spend time with you and share your juice with everybody.
Yay.
I hope this was inspiring, and we send you much, much love from Arizona.
Yay!
Bye.
Bye!